I mean, it was a bit, I wouldn't say spontaneous, but my whole career in cycling has been a bit random. I definitely, when I started competing in Bermuda, my plan was definitely not to go pro. It was more to get QOMs in Bermuda. And it's everything is sort of just spiraled a bit. I did my first Caribbean Championships in 2018, and I qualified for the Pan Am Games. And so that set that into and got that going. And then I did well at Pan Am Games. And I think it was after Peru that I thought, okay, I've been doing this with a full-time job for the last 2 years. Maybe, I should try, just give it a shot, and see if I can do even better if I'm training full-time. So, it's been quite the decision. And luckily I have Dominique, who has been my coach, has been my everything, and so it's made it a lot easier to make the move, because he's familiar with the states and the racing, and so yeah, and it's also just nicer to have somebody with you as well. So yeah. I think it was really the Caribbean Championships. I did well in Peru, and I sort of knew I could do better. And a lot of my racing, my performance, I've based off my time trial, because it's a lot easier to kind of measure. So when I first started, my goal was to do 24 miles per hour. The first one I did was like 22.8 something. And so every time trial, I've just set a higher goal. And now in Peru, I think I did around 26. And so that sort of set that. I was like, okay, well, for Caribbean, I want to do higher than that. And I was able to. And so looking at time trials around the world, and some of the best women, a lot of the very best are doing 28, 29. But I think I am sort of in the Pan American region. If I can get to 27 and a little bit higher, I am in a really good position to perform well in the Pan American region, and also in the US. If you take out the top women like Chloe Dygert and Olivia Thomas, but they're on the world tour scene. So in the US, I think if I get 27 miles per hour, I'm pretty close to getting there. Interesting. I got a new coach. So I have somebody named Brian Walton of Walton Endurance coaching me now, and he was Dominique's former coach, and he's really well known in the cycling community in the States, and it's a huge increase in training. When I first spoke to him, he said, "Are you sure this is all the training that you've done in the last 2 years?" I said, "Yep, that's it." So he, I think, has started to get me to do a lot more endurance stuff, so longer rides without the coffee stops in Bermuda and the kind of social side. So that's been a tough, but I have Dominique here, and obviously he pushes me. He also gets the worst of me when I'm cracking in the middle of an endurance ride and I just want sugar. But it's been really good, and I've seen just an improvement in the last 3 to 4 weeks of training in terms of my body's ability to ride for 3.5 hours without stopping, and also do those small interval training, because in Bermuda it's very difficult with the traffic and the terrain to do 3 to 5 minute interval efforts, because we don't have kind of roads for that length of time. And here Tucson is just perfect for that. We have Mount Lemmon where we just sort of go up and down that, and it definitely helps. So the training's going well. Thank you. But the big one is going to be in 2 weeks. It's called the Valley of the Sun stage race. And that will be my first opportunity to really perform against some of the best women in the States, which I haven't really had the chance to do, because obviously from Bermuda, it's hard to travel a lot. And the race I did last year didn't have a ton of competitors. So this one, definitely there'll be more than 40 riders, and some of the big teams. So it'll be good to show myself, and test myself. There's a time trial in the first stage. So I'm looking forward to that. And then after that, I'm looking at Joe Martin stage race in April and the Tour of Gila in May, but they would require me to get onto a team to do it. So I'll be emailing teams after the Valley of the Sun, hoping that I do well, to kind of put my name forward for a guest ride spot on the bigger teams. And then after that, the main thing for this year would be potentially going to the World Championships in Switzerland in September. And obviously, you know, there's a few variables for that, but that would be a huge, huge experience if I could get to the World Championships. Obviously, it's the Olympic year, but with the cycling qualification standard, I would have had to have gotten points for Bermuda and as an individual last year. The cutoff date was October, so I won't make it to the Olympics this year, but maybe 2024.